Genesis with its luxury line coming in with a electric GV70 later on this year. We're showcasing the 2023 Genesis GV70 2.5 turbo in Himalaya gray. Genesis of Port Richey has invited us to showcase this model, and starting off with the signature LED daytime runnings and headlamps. It's a quad light setup for the front. The same thing for the rear, you'll have the LED tail lamps, and what I like about it is it distinguishes the brand and makes this one of those cars that stands out, because you're not going to get this confused with the Mercedes, the BMW, and Audi. Over 7 inches of clearance, the enlarged grille that everyone talks about. Going onto the lower, you'll get the matte surface with the chrome that's going to be in the center, working its way to the side air curtains. An aggressive hood setup brushes over the headlamp assembly and into the quarter panels, keeping a flat surface, no matte black, same color for the fenders. Because this is the Advance, we get upgraded wheels. That comes with the Select package with the panoramic sunroof, ventilated front seats, and a heated steering wheel with aluminum trim with a spin brushed pattern. On the lower skirt, you're going to get the chrome. The same thing with the window treatment, and it forms that SUV style that Genesis is wanting to distinguish it, to show a difference. Electronically controlled limited slip differential. Because this is the all-wheel drive, it can send up to 100% of the torque to the rear wheels, which the Lexus RX can only do 85%. Lower roof spoiler, the gloss black's gonna wrap around. The windshield wiper I wish was a little bit more hidden, because it really does stand out, especially from the dynamic look of the rear. But I do like that to open the tailgate, it's right underneath there, because you don't have to bend down here or here like you would in some of the other competition. The grille pattern comes into the lower, dual exhaust, 3,500 pounds of towing. This is the all-wheel drive, power liftgate with a low and wide opening, 28.9 cubic feet of storage. You have a privacy cover, 12 volt, a storage nook in the side. Underneath the floor, you have a little bit of storage and your spare tire with some more storage. The good thing though is you can split fold the rear bench in the back at a 60-40 split. That's going to increase the cargo to 56.9 cubic feet, which will be one of the least in class for cargo capacity, but this is also a smaller SUV than the competition. Now it's time to go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. And they back the performance with a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder turbo GDI, producing 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, achieving 22 to 28 mpgs. Lock the car, press and hold to start. Now push the button forward. Release it to stop. Push and hold the button backwards. Let go. The GV70 has good ground clearance, so getting in, whether you're tall like me or short, you're not going to have an issue. And headroom starts off at 39.6 inches. Legroom, 39.1 inches. One thing that I dislike right off the bat is where the cup holders are placed, because they have made this a little bit more of a wall for the gear lever, the rotary knob for your infotainment screen, in which I'm not going to be able to really use these cup holders because it's more so derived for the passenger. 12-way power seat adjustments, heated, ventilated, and on the side here for the rear, you can adjust the passenger seat to make it a little bit more accessible to sit into the center. Genesis with an elegant design that starts at the door panel going into the dash with the chrome that goes through your air vents, and it wraps all the way into the back. The 14.5 inch is one of the longest screens, and it has the pinch and the swipe. Where it's located though, it is a little bit difficult to do the pinch swipe. You also have a little menu here that you can just toggle through. It's pretty self-explanatory. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM streaming, Bluetooth audio. Switch it to reverse, got the reverse camera, 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory, and you can change the camera layouts. You can also use the 3D mode, which you can see any imperfections all around the vehicle. Going into a dual climate control setting, a touch sensitive screen, and some buttons for the infotainment. Open this up to a wireless charging pad that your phone just slides right in. A USB port. On this side, you'll have your driver modes, which you have a Snow, Eco, Comfort, Sport, Custom setup. Your rotary knobs for the infotainment, which is placed right above your gear lever. The key fob with your automatic start, front and reverse that you can do. More soft to rest. Open up inside, a 12 volt, a little storage tray open up, and it's a pretty deep storage pocket. Putting this in is always fun. 2-spoke leather wrap steering wheel, heated, multi-function, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, paddle shifters. The gauge cluster has a digital reader on the right side, and you also have for your turn signals, which I wish it was over here with the analog, which would be a full 12.3 digital reader. And it does have an array of information for the driver. The door panel and the dash connect together. They do a great job. Upgraded lexicon we get now for the Advance. You get that aluminum pattern throughout, memory for the driver, one touch up and down for all the windows. It's going to be a little bit more sporty, but it is soft with a long storage pocket, just not so wide. Here's where your bottle holder would be. For the back seats, I'm at 41.3 inches of headroom, and I can move my head relatively freely, even with the design on the exterior. Leg space at 37.2, so it's a little bit more cramped here. 2 USB ports with a home plug, a storage tray, air vents, storage behind both of the front seats, and it's also carved out for your legs. The door panel, because this is the Advance, we get the manual sunshades. Everyday materials, more soft in this area. One touch up and down for the back windows. A little bit more of a storage pocket for a cell phone and a grab handle, and a smaller storage pocket next to your Lexicon sound system. Sitting into the center, headroom is still not an issue. Leg space is. I'm against the back of the front seats in the position I'd be sitting. Feet space is shared, but they do carve it out, so the rail for the front seats have a sufficient amount of room forward, so you can put your feet more closer to the area that stands up in the center. Sharing butt, shoulder space because it's a smaller vehicle, but it does feel wider in the interior because of how tall the headliner is. This inline 4-cylinder is no joke. 300 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 around 5.6 seconds. The V6 3.5 gets it under 5 seconds. So both variants are going to be pretty quick considering the size of this vehicle and the price. And what we're going to do is show you a little bit of that dynamics right now. We're going to put it into sport and give her a little go. And your brakes. So you're taken care of with some of the performance. Now, dynamics of this is not going to be the best in class. That will go to the BMW X3, and the X4 is an actual 50-50 weight distribution, but you got to go to over $80,000, $90,000 in order to get that. So when you're looking at a package deal, this is definitely a steal. As for the updates, you're getting the Lexicon sound system for 2023, which is a great thing because now we have the upgraded sound system. If you go into the Select, you will get a heated steering wheel and you get upgraded wheels. Now that's going to take me to some things I like and dislike, and starting off with is what I like. Whether you get this powertrain or you up it to the V6, both of them are going to take care of you with speed on a daily use. You'll get better gas consumption in the inline 4 turbo. The second thing that I like about it is in the back seats, you can move the passenger seat up. Say you just need a little bit extra room, you can do so right on the side, therefore making 3 people sitting in the rear a little bit more easier and comfortable. The last thing that I like is how stylish the Genesis is. They do this in all of their brands, meaning all the door panels connect to the front, to the dash. It actually has a design pattern. There's not a lot of car companies doing this, and they're kind of blowing it out of the ballpark because it just makes it look so much more luxurious than the competition. Three things that I dislike about the vehicle is this wall, like I was talking about on the interior. It separates the bottle or beverage holders for the driver and pretty much just gives it to the passenger. And the same thing for your wireless charging pad, because you have these rotary knobs that's in front of you, and which takes me to a second thing I dislike is this top rotary knob for the infotainment screen. I like that we have it because this is miles away. I have to actually reach up in order to touch it, just where it's located. Maybe reconfigure this a little bit differently so that way it's a little bit more user friendly, because at the beginning what's going to happen is you're going to think that your gears and you're going to go in and try to do that, and that's just for the infotainment screen. The last thing that I dislike is the gauge cluster. This is not the full digital reader, so what happens is half of it's digital, half of it's analog, in which when you get the turn signals that will populate in the gauge cluster the camera, so that way you can see for blind spots, it's all on the right side. When you get the full digital cluster, it's right and left side. So if you drive both two variants in the sense that have it and don't have it, it can make it a little bit more confusing because it's all on one side, whereas it's separated on that one. Performance, I mean, look at this. Now obviously the interior will have the noise from the engine because we're hitting higher RPMs, but as for road noise, it is pretty soundproof for the most part. These are upgraded wheels and the ride isn't suffering in the sense of the suspension. That's why independent front and rear suspension is a big deal, because each wheel is independently moving, therefore giving you more of a smoother and dynamic drive. So I like that Genesis is going the extra step in doing this, because when you go into variants that's underneath this, like a Mazda, they're not going to give you full independent suspension on the front and the rear. It's going to sacrifice, and the price can escalate to near what this is, and this is at just a hair over $53,000. It is a bargain deal that you're getting. The windscreen, it's large, it's pushed back. A-pillars, they're a little chunky, but I like the dynamic look that it gives. You do get those little Prius windows in the front, but it does help with some visibility, and the windows are large all around the cabin, therefore giving you hardly any blind spots. And I mean, they have so much technology to protect you from having an accident. Because of blind spots, I don't see how it would be really a problem. Because this is not as long as some of the rivals, getting in and out of lanes is also a little bit better. The steering does have some weight to it, and there is a little bit of play in it also. But for a daily use, I do like that it has that little bit of weight, because it makes me feel more engaged with the vehicle. Because there's not an actual gear lever, it does clean up this center console, and it does make it easier so you can just kind of relax on a long journey. The adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist go really well with this. You could go about a mile with it, and I found that to be the same with the Kia and the Hyundai line. So I do like the fact that it's going a little bit more further to get that semi-autonomous driving. Turn radius at more or less a stop point is going to receive about 2 lanes, 185.6 inches long, so it's not too bad in the sense of doing a full U-turn. And 7.3 inches of clearance, so you sit up enough. I mean, when you're looking at any of the competition, these numbers just blow it away, because they're going to be more or less starting at this price, especially when you get into a luxury brand. I like to thank Genesis of Port Richey for giving us this 2023 Genesis GV70 for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, I don't know what you're waiting for. Click the next video and the subscribe button. Check out the merchandise, website, Instagram. Leave a comment and a like.